Hello and welcome to a new trading video. This is the week of the 17th of March. It is Monday, the 17th of March. It's a little bit in the day. It's 11 a.m. GMT. We're looking at the monthly euro dollar futures volume profile and market profile side by side. And as per the previous videos, I always tend to have a monthly view as far as volume profile and market profile is concerned, a weekly view as well as the day-to-day, the daily view. Now, what we use this for, as a reminder, is to, well, a number of things. First of all, we want to look at which type of month profile we've had, and the same for the weekly, which weekly profile we've had, and which daily profiles we've had, in the past. There are different type of days that would be likely to produce some reactions. And we also look at, so that's the number one thing we look at the shape of, the distribution, in other words, as far as the market profile and the market profile is concerned. The second thing that we look at is to compare the TPOs, the market profile, which is on the left again of each profile, and the volume profile. And we want to know if the areas where we spent the most of time, as this is an indication of time, the market profile, does that actually fit with equal high volume, or on the contrary, have we spent time in particular areas and places but have not generated much volume, or vice versa? It could be places where we haven't spent a lot of time at all but generated a lot of volume. So that's probably the subject of a whole video in itself, but as you can imagine, very roughly, this would effectively this could indicate various things and have various explanations behind those three different scenarios. Then one of the large focus here as well is really to look at low volume nodes, i.e. where we didn't have any volume transacted, project those areas forward, as indicated here by those rectangular projected red lines, and understanding that these lines, these areas, these low volume nodes will be revisited in the future. And when they are revisited, the sort of low volume nodes, sort of the gap, the hole, if you like, in the profile, will be sort of a lot of transactions will happen there. Again, why? Because the market is number one curious and wants to, and efficient, so it wants to produce volume where there wasn't any volume, and the value obviously shifting constantly. So that's number one. And number two, there will be, it's more technical and mechanical really, but it's the fact that some people in those areas would have brought liquidity, not get out of a trade, still in a trade, and you need to get out of that trade when we visited the same area. And there's different other additional explanations here, but the point being, we will come back to those area, and this where you see, like here, a very, very thin volume and TPO profile, meaning there was a huge push on one direction and very quick, and volume didn't have the time to be transacted, and we didn't have the time to spend too much time on it either. This big push to very quickly, until a certain point, and then the value is being pushed to where the market deems the value is. In that case, it's a bit above. And then you can see we spend much more time and much more volume is being transacted in those areas where the value has shifted. Okay, that leaves some sense, some marks in the sand. Sorry, that you see a lot of TPO prints, meaning they are single prints. A single print, again, I think that's something I mentioned in one of the previous videos, but is always acts like a magnet. Initially, it tends to be a rejection of the prices when they go back to single prints. but then eventually the market would go through them. But the point being, initially, this will be acting as a magnet, and really, this is what we're trying to define here. Can we project areas of interest that were produced with historical data and project this in the future, and therefore have some sort of map of where we could well be heading? And again, it doesn't mean that because there's a low value node somewhere, or a single print somewhere, or unfinished business somewhere, and we go back there, that or near there, that we will definitely go back there. But it's at least it can be used as a plausible scenario, certainly an option. So if you look at where we are here, we are all the way at the top of this monthly, since this is March, okay, profile, and really we you can see there's an unfinished auction just above there, and then we will, if we go back in time, we are looking at what levels were above that areas, because we've haven't been that high 109.62 for quite a while. It was quite a while since we were above 109.60, and to be precise, this was here back in December 24, as you can tell. So I went back in time until you find basically that, oh, okay, we're above the level where we are now. You find whether there are any low volume nodes, whether there is unfinished business, and there is. You find if there are any single prints, and there are, and you find whether you have low volume nodes, buying tails, selling tails, all of the above, project those areas forward, and that certainly gives us, and of course we do that for anything above and anything below, okay? But the point is, we will have areas that could well act as a magnet for future reference. So that's interesting to look at. So once I've sort of a low volume node, like there's a good example here, has been filled in, so at some point in the future, you can pretty much delete it. It's not relevant anymore. It's been, reordered, so to speak. The market went back there, transaction happened when it didn't before. So that's then the case of looking at new low volume nodes and single prints and unfinished business and so on, if there is any. So that's the first thing that I do. I do that on a monthly, I do that on a weekly, and then this is the monthly areas that I draw are not only put forward into the future, but they also are being drawn automatically onto the daily chart. We're now looking at the daily chart. So effectively, those areas, low volume nodes monthly that we've just drawn are now landed on the daily volume profile and market profile chart, where I'm doing exactly the same exercise. And because that monthly profile that we looked at is so extended, it happened pretty much in the week before last. So unsurprisingly, we can see that this tends to fit quite well, those low volume nodes quite well with with the daily profiles, where I mean I would now draw the daily profile. So we can adjust it, we can fine tune it. We could easily, let's take an example here. We can see that we've got a buying tail here. We could easily sort of fine tune and say that I'm gonna draw another area here. I may want to do a different color so that I can actually see what's daily and what's monthly, just to make it a bit, a little bit more, a bit clearer. But effectively, that's pretty much the idea, and we now have a whole potential bunch of potential areas acting as a magnet that that we can go back to. And that gives us some reference point, which is the whole idea, the whole point of that is to have reference point. So you can see if we carry on going north here, the question was, where do we go? But well, now we have one first, area going all the way to 109.90. And clearly, if we go all the way to 109.90, the likelihood is we'll go back to 110. And for no particular reason, that 110 is a reference point to the market because it's going back into this sort of high of last year or more normal range area of last year, and where the market probably see the euro dollar value is at the moment. So sorry for the repeat of those video on the volume profile and market profile, but this is really important. This is really key. This is really what's going to give you a clear sort of road ahead, sort of view and some mapping and some magnet areas and reference, references and really this is, something that gives you an indication of how, if I build different scenarios, where am I likely to go to? And it's really taking off the guesswork from, what we're doing. Now, you can see this is practical example today, and this red low volume node above us. It's a little bit, it's 109.78, and at the moment we are onto 109.58. So it's a little bit above. Does that mean we'll go up there? No. Could we just now reverse and spend time, below here? In fact, there's another, that's Friday profile. You can see all the way down to 108.850. Yes, we could. Could we just sort of hang around all day here? Yes. You can see there's a low, it's not, there's a low volume node in the middle of the profile here. That's a huge tail here. But here you can see there's a low volume node in the middle of the Friday's profile. So again, this was not corrected today because when we got to that point, we shot back, we shot back up. So we didn't really transact much volume here. So yeah, we could go back here, spend a bit of time here, do a bit of volume here, do a bit of volume here. I mean, anything is, of course, an option and possible. But at least if I saw that we go back up and we start to push a little bit above the high of the today and Friday, then that's probably the next area I would be looking at. Again, with no 100% guarantee that it will be there. There's no 100% guarantee if there was, everybody would be doing that. There isn't. But certainly that gives us something to look at. Likewise, we could go back. If I see that we go back, we spend time here, and then we could reverse again or carry on going down. Then I would definitely, when we get to that sort of low of the day, I'd be definitely looking to go. There's a single print here, but I'd be definitely looking to spend some time here and perhaps go all the way down to 108.84. So you get a gist, you get the idea, but this is really how we want to look at this. This is really how we want to use this to give us an indication of where can we possibly go. And of course, you want to look at, do we have any economic news or announcements today that could push the market one way or another? We've got the retail sales month on month in Feb for the US, which is meant to be, I think it's 12:30 UK time. So that could move the market a little bit. That's sometimes, even if that sort of economic release is in itself is not the strongest one we can have, it can give a first initial impulse, which then would push the market, one side or another. Again, we want to look at what we always do: look at the order book, see where we are, see what the day looks like so far. Do we have any areas of high liquidity above or below? What does it look like? From that standpoint, sometimes it's something is super obvious, and that add another magnet or another point of reference. As it is now, it doesn't particularly. If I look at this, I see some decent size in various areas, one on 970, 75. There's one here just above us here, 133. And all that, of course, is relative to the size of the book for Monday on the euro dollar typically. So that, again, it's not so much if you look at the ES, that would be super small and completely irrelevant. So it's all case by case basis, and depending on the sort of assets or contracts that you trade and look at. Anyway, you add little bits and pieces to the puzzle, and little by little, the scenarios being, built up, gives us areas, scenarios, point of contact. At the moment, I frankly don't know. So at least I've got a roadmap. Thank you very much. And any question, please ask. Hope that helps. Thanks.